Welcome students, welcome to our channel AN's Gurukul. Today we will discuss and learn the function if, else if and end if and how to use it in Qbasic. If you find this video useful, I request you all to subscribe my channel and also share it and like it. So to begin with the statement example, let us write what exactly the program we intend to do. So we will write a program to input three numbers and print the greatest of them. To do so, we will begin by a generic statement CLS, that is to clear the screen. Now what we do is we will input three numbers, like enter the first number and store it in a variable a. Then we input the second number and store it in a variable b. And then again we input the third number and store it in a variable c. So now what we have done is we have basically asked to input three numbers. Now what to do with these numbers? So the if statement is, the meaning of if statement is grammatically the same. So what we are trying to say is if, now we need to identify which is the greatest number of the three numbers being fed in. So first what we will do is we will compare the first number that we have entered with the other two numbers and check whether it is greater than other two numbers or not. So if a, that is the first number I've entered, is greater than b, and so it's a joint condition, a is greater than c. So here what we are stating is that if a is greater than both b and c, then print greatest number is, obviously we need to print a, because this condition identifies that a is greater than two numbers b and c, hence it is the greatest. Similarly, we need to cross check again the second number, because if a is not greater than a, b or c, then we need to check the second number similarly. So else, and then we give else if. So to do this, b is greater than a and b is greater than c, then, so here we are writing is, if this condition is not fulfilled, that if a is not greater than b or a is not greater than c or a is not greater than both b and c, so any of the condition which fails, then it skips to the else if section. So what happens is, first the program will check this condition. If this condition is fulfilled in both the parameters, then it will print a. Now if it doesn't, because it is mentioned and, so it has to fulfill both the parameters. If we have mentioned it or, suppose we have mentioned it or, then it would have been any one of the parameter. So but we want both the parameters to be checked. So if both the parameters are okay, then it will print a, else it will go to the next statement, that is it will again check the, if b is greater than a and c, then what happens, we print greatest number is b. Now it checks that b is, again two parameters are being checked for b. Now if this also fails, then again we check for c. So else if c is greater than a and c is greater than b, then now we print greatest number is C, and we don't have any further query or any further condition to be checked. So either A will be bigger than B and C, or B will be bigger than A and C, or C will be bigger than A and B. So these are the three conditions we will check by if, else if statements, and then finally we will close this entire conditional statement of if, else if and end if, and then we end the program. So let us see if this program runs. So it is asking me for the first number. So let us say we give, say 55. It asks for the second number. So let's give, say 67. It asks for the third number. So let's put in 12. So now let's see what is the result. So it is showing the greatest number is 67. We can again check it by putting some other numbers. Say the first number I put is 3, the second number I put is 78, and the third number I put is 453. So the greatest number is 453. So there goes, this is the the program to properly use if, else if and end if statements. Now what we do is, we will take an example, another example for the same statement. Now this example, students, you must be facing this question wherein you are asked to write a program to input marks of 5 subjects and print total marks, average score and grade. So here we are trying to identify, first we have to input 5 marks of 5 subjects, and then we need to print the total of all those 5 subjects, which is very easy for you to understand. We need to find out the average score, that is a percentage, and also we need to find the grade. Now the grade, these are formulated things like total marks and average score, but grades are defined. Grades are defined. So we have to define the grades as well in this program. So let's begin. So again, with the generic statement, we cleared the screen. Now the first thing is we need to input marks of 5 subjects. So enter marks for English, so I am putting a variable to make it easy to understand later on. It's E. So again we take enter marks for mathematics, so we define it by M. And then again we input enter marks for history, or let us take it as chemistry, we put as C, then we input. So we have to enter marks for 5 different subjects: physics, and then finally we select any one more subject, biology. So we have asked for entering the marks for 5 different subjects. Now the first question was we need to print the total marks. So we define a variable called total, and to find out the total it is quite easy. So we just add all those variables or the marks that will be entered, and those are stored in those variables. We just add them, so we get total. Now we want an average score. So let us say we again take a variable called average, and this should be total by 5. And then, so we have got answers to 2 questions. One, we have found out what is the total of all the 5 subjects, and 2, we have also found out what will be the average score. That is, if there are 5 subjects, so we'll add all the numbers that we have got, and then we divide it by the 5. So we get an aggregate score out of 100. Now the last query was how to identify the grades. Now grades will be defined. So what we do is, now we start the conditional statements, or if, else if and end if statements. So if average is less than 40, then now before getting into that, after finding out total, let's see print total marks and then put that variable. So this will print the total marks we have found. Similarly, after finding out average, so what we do is print percentage score and then give this variable which stores the average marks. Now that we have printed two things, we have printed the total marks and we have printed the percentage score. Now what we do is we find out the grades. So if average is less than 40, then what we want to do? Print student has failed. Okay, this if statement is okay. Else if, now we go to the second condition. So the first condition is if the average score is less than 40, then we have to print this because the student is failed. Now if the average score is greater than 40 and average is less than 50, then what we need to do? Print student passed with third division. Simple. Else if, again we will get into the next level of scoring. So if average is greater than 50 and average is less than 60, then print student passed with second division. Else if average is greater than 60, then print student passed with first division. So what we have done is we have tried to identify the average, and then based on that average we have graded that average into four categories. So below 40, between 40 to 50, between 50 to 60, and then above 60, and there are three different else if statements. So if the first condition, it will check the first condition. If average is less than 40, then if the condition is true, then it will print this. If it is false, then it will go to the second condition. If average is less than 40 and greater than 50, student passed with third division, then 50 to 60 would be second division, and then above 60 would be first division. Now there is an error here. Error in the sense, if what happens if the average comes to exact 40 or 50 or 60. So what we do is, it has to be less than 40, it has to be greater than equal to 40 and less than 50, it has to be greater than equal to 50 and less than 60, and it has to be greater than equal to 60. So what happens is, in case he gets 39, even 39 point something, then also the student has failed. But if the student gets exact 40, so then it will come to the second condition where it will be not only greater than but is equal to 40 as well. So Even if a person gets 40, then he or she passes with third division. Similarly for 50, for 60. So even if a student gets the exact 40% or 50% or 60%, that also is graded out here. So now we do end if and then end the program. So let us see if the program runs. So enter the marks for English. So suppose we enter 56. Mathematics, chemistry, physics and biology. So you see the total marks it is showing is 363, that is the addition of all the marks. The percentage score is 72.6 and the student passed with first division. Fantastic. Now let's see, we will run this program again with some different marks. So for English, for mathematics, for chemistry, for physics and for biology, let's put in 30. So I'm sure you guys are not as bad as this student. So this is just for an example. So let's see. So the percentage score is 35.2 and the student has failed. So this program uses if, else if and end if in a different way. So I hope students you have liked this video and thank you so much for being there. Please wait for my next videos where I will again use a different statement for Qbasic and we will again dry run couple of programs and try to understand what the statement means and how it functions. So have a good day, good luck and see you again.